Yo, what is up, everyone? Happy Friday! Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's doing very, very well. Without any further ado, let's get my fat head on the screen and see how we are looking today. Not bad, not bad. Hope everyone's doing very, very well on this fantastic Friday. Hope everyone's looking forward to the weekend. Hope everyone's not too traumatized by the week of price action we've just had. Some interesting candles from BTC. But if we're still here to tell the tale, then we are outperforming. That's the tale we tell ourselves, right? That's that's the cope. That's the copium we inhale on a Friday. What's up, Sis? Good to see you, bro. What's up, Film Ninja, my man? GM. What's up, Nico Techie, mi hermano? ¿Cómo está? What's up, Micro Sailor, my man? What's up, Finchy, my brother? How you doing? What's up, Veslin, my boy? Sad to see the hype spot idea go. Yeah, I had to get rid of it though, because actually the idea played out perfectly. But we got front ran on our orders by, I don't know how much it was in the end, 15%, 20%, but it actually ran. Basically my target was new highs. And now that we put in new highs, we'll look for another idea. There'll be another spot idea for sure, but not sure how much sense it makes to keep those bids open, or at least that idea open in its current form, given that I was really looking for the new high idea, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was, if you look at the if you look at what I wrote about hype, sorry, I said like bullish on the perp dex meta, bullish on hype. I think a bet on hype is a bet on crypto. Hyperliquid did 2.6 trillion in notional volume in 2025. For context, Coinbase did 1.4 trillion. It's getting into prediction markets, which are going to get bigger. Lots of fees going on buybacks. You know, I said I wanted to get exposure. Now, did I get exposure? No, I got greedy with my entry and I got punished, but that's okay. It's part of the game. What's up, Bullet Felix? You woke up craving pizza. That's a good way to wake up. I must say. So I was very, in my 20s, I was very strict on dieting. Very, very strict. I did keto, I did carnivore, I did paleo. I was extremely strict. Now, in my 30s, I've actually eased up a little bit. I'm a little bit less strict. I still eat good food, but I'm not so strict, especially on carbs. But holy shit, man. A pizza on a Saturday night, like an oven pizza on a Saturday night, and just fucking watch an episode of something stupid on Netflix. It's such a basic bitch simple pleasure. It doesn't even need to be a good pizza, man. You know what I do? Bullet Felix. Here's a little tip for you, because I'm a big guy, you know. I like to fucking eat. Pizza just doesn't do it for me. So actually what I do is I get like chicken breast, I get some peppers, I get some diced onions, and I stack that shit, man. Stack that comes out, it's like the toppings are like that thick. It's a little bit of life alpha for you youngins. You want to stack your pizza, get a little bit of bacon on there. It's like a fucking pie. Man making a Chicago. Yes, I've rediscovered the deep dish from First Principles. You thought you were American. Yeah, but it's good stuff, man. You're getting chicken breasts on there, peppers, get some courgette. Meat and veg, man, can't go wrong. The bad part of the pizza is the base. The bad part of the pizza is the bread. So the more you can increase the ratio of meat and veg to base, the better, right? Chat, am I fat? Yes. 55 stream streak. Let's go, Sis, my man. Crazy. Love to see it, man. Howdy. Yeah, happy Friday to everyone. Exactly. Veslin with the 60 stream streak. Let's go, my man. Brother, I love it. Happy Friday, Mexican. How you doing, sir? What's up, Beerlack? My brother. Happy Friday. What's up, Levy Roo? Hello, Goat. Nice hat. It is a nice hat. Yep, I agree. I think I got this as a gift from the woman who lives with me. She knows what my favorite color is. They made BTC look weak, made people cautious, and then started pumping everything. Is that what they did? BTC is still under 78k. Couch and pizza is elite, yeah. I'll die before I give up carbs. Yeah, I find for sure, depends on what kind of training you're doing. Like, I was really just going for aesthetics at the time. And I was just I really wanted to be, like, as fucking cut as possible. So yeah, no carbs was great because it really helped with that. Whereas now I'm all about that dad strength, you know? Even though I'm not a father yet. I'm all about that old man strength. The hustle phase can only last so long, yeah. You thought you were American? Oh, with the Chicago deep dish? Italian pizza rocks, extra thin crust. Yeah, so maybe I just need to go to fucking Italy, man. The Italian pizza places here aren't fantastic. I won't lie. Are we live on X? Are we live on YouTube at the moment? I don't see any chat. That might be an error on my side. That's happened before. Your Twitch chat doesn't work. Aesthetic dieting just makes you so sleep. You're a big HIT fan? There you go. What's up, Cro-Magnon? With a 60 stream streak. Let's go. Okay, X chat is working. And YouTube chat is working. Good. You used to live in Connecticut, which is home to the best pizza in the country. I feel like every state says that, no? I feel like every single state in America says that. What would, what's up, Master of Liquidity? What would New York say to that? Like, what would New York say to the idea that that's the best piece in the state? You were spoiled. Extreme is up. Yeah. New Haven. We're going to get into the charts now. Oh, yeah, 15 minutes to go. We need a prediction. Yes, we do. Prediction. Start prediction. Bullish or bearish? You guys have 15 minutes. Boom. Last time we had pretty fucking huge redistribution of wealth. What's up, Dream Reality? Let's get into the charts. We have, yeah, New York is in. 13 minutes, basically. 13 minutes. We'll let that roll. We'll come back to it. There we go. Yeah, we'll come back to this. Has anything changed from Wednesday? My read on BTC? No. In fact, since Wednesday, we've had very little price action on high time frame. We are still hugging mid-channel here. Very indecisive. Interestingly, we have a long weekend coming up in the US. I believe, chat can correct me, I believe Monday is a bank holiday in the US. We've seen fuckery before. We have seen fuckery before on such long weekends. Man, VVV is actually starting to break my heart now that we didn't get our entry here. But yeah, I would say that the bulls are looking at this and saying, okay, well, we're not breaking down below mid-channel. Mid-channel is holding its support. We are not clearly re-entering the range. We're not clearly re-accepting back into the range. Yeah. I'm still high time frame, you know, looking for lower. But this doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad for, let's say, the rest of the month. Still waiting to see whether this turns out to be a successful auction or a failed auction. Too early to tell as of yet. But yeah, we're still at a pivot point, I think. My bias hasn't really changed. I'm still looking for lower prices into the remainder of the year. Interesting chart that I want to show with you is the chart that I shared yesterday. It's effectively a sentiment oscillator. Hopefully you guys can all see this. I was reading about it. It uses a fairly complex algorithm to determine sentiment. Two algorithms actually, and then kind of combines the average of the two. But yeah, interesting to note that according to this algorithm, we have only just entered the period at which bearish sentiment is higher than bullish sentiment. Which kind of lines up actually when you think about it. Someone was saying in my replies yesterday that they thought that sentiment had bottomed, you know, sentiment was rock bottom. I said, man, do you not remember 2022? 2022, we had Luna. We had just come off the back of Luna, FTX, Alameda, Voyager, Celsius, 3 Hours Capital. We had Binance FUD, we had India FUD, we had China FUD, we had Gary Gensler FUD, we had SEC FUD, we had XRP FUD. It genuinely, I remember feeling at certain points in 2022 that like crypto could be over pretty soon. That's not the case this cycle yet. We're very far from sentiment rock bottom, to be honest. Is this indicator freely available? Yep. So interesting to think that if you apply something like this, then it means that we probably have another 6 to 12 months of what I'm calling accumulation before we start expanding. All right, not from here, but like maybe something like this. Of course, this is, as Benjamin Cowan would say, this is dubious speculation. But if we weren't speculating dubiously, would we really be crypto traders? Quantum stocks look good, probably means something for our shitcoins. Did you see that they released like a sector by sector breakdown of the stock market performance over the last, I don't know what the period was, maybe the last year? Or maybe it was just the last 6 months, something like that. And it was like, of the 11 main sectors of the stock market, you know, there was like manufacturing, textiles, tech. I actually don't know what they are off the top of my head. I'd have to find the post, but 9 out of 11, nine sectors actually underperformed the benchmark. They underperformed the S&P. And the only two that outperformed, I believe, were tech and something to do with tech. Let me stop talking at my ass and find the actual post. Yeah, here we go. This is a good one. Oh, interesting. Right page, yeah. So Kobe C letter, by the way, good page to follow, in my opinion. Yeah, technology stocks. So it's basically this. If I could zoom in a bit. So information technology and communication services have outperformed the S&P by a huge margin. Now, again, the S&P is just the average of all of these, so bear that in mind. It's not an index that exists outside of these. It's the average of these. Industrials, financials, energy, materials, consumer, real estate, healthcare, all underperform. So that kind of ties in with the point that I was making on stream last week which is that even though the stock market is at an all-time high, it weirdly and perhaps paradoxically feels a little bit fragile, because it's not, unlike previous instances, and you can point to prior bull runs, prior stock market bull runs, where there's kind of been this underlying rationale or underlying strength in the economy that has bolstered the index. Now it's like I think the stocks, there's like a handful of stocks, there's a handful of companies at the top of the S&P that are absolutely ripping, primarily in the semiconductor and AI sectors, and they're kind of pulling the rest of the index up. They're pulling the rest of the economy up. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is perhaps slightly different than, if you can imagine. Oh, and this, by the way, is actually not 1 year like I thought. It's, what was that, 3.5 years? I see it's October 12th, 2022 through May 18th, 2026. Yeah, maybe slightly different to a circumstance where all sectors were kind of pumping in unison. This is fine, yeah. Who knows, though? Yeah, we have 50,000 florins being bet now. New York was flooding because of weather conditions. I hope everything is good over there. Oh, damn, I didn't realize that. He's got liquidated on his florins, yeah. Memorial Day, is that it? What is Memorial Day? Where are we in the Wall Street cheat sheet graph? Well, I already said we're at disbelief. You know, I wonder, could I find that tweet? Disbelief. Oh, denial, that's it. So, yeah, I wouldn't take this too seriously, but this is what I posted last month, so I'm going to stick with it. I said that we're in the denial phase, which isn't a bad thing. That means that one more leg down and then we start to accumulate, but got some angry comments on that one. I also, you know me, this is 90% a shit post. But all that being said, do I think the bottom is in? No. Do I think we go lower? Yes. Do I think there's going to be great chances to accumulate BTC? Probably either at the end of this year or into next year. Yes. So take from that what you will. Take from that what you will. Interesting chart, though. Interesting chart. We touched on high yield bond rates. Government bonds with kind of like multi-year highs. Pulling back now, though, which is interesting. I wonder, is it remember we were talking about, by the way, this is an absolute banger. If anyone doesn't know this song, this track, it's Two Dots by Lucine. Old song, like 15 years old. Just talking about high, the fact that government bond yields are so high, and we were saying that I was making the point that basically, without getting into the details, yield rates affect how expensive money is. That's a very blunt and simplistic way of putting it. When yield rates are down, liquidity is usually higher. It means things like borrowing and mortgages and loans and any kind of financing is just cheaper. Because this is effectively, this is like a benchmark for things like interest rates, those kind of repayments. So when these rates are low, it means that money is cheaper, liquidity is higher, usually. It also means there's more money going into risk assets because, as I've said already, like, government bond yields are basically zero risk investments. And if you can park, however the fuck much it is, if you can park your $1 billion in bond yields and get paid 5% annualized, then risk-free, then you're gonna do it. You know, anyone would take that deal. Now, if yield rates are like 0.5% or 1%, then maybe you start looking at that return and you're like, it's not worth it. Maybe I'll buy some fucking Ethereum, right? Maybe I'll roll the dice in crypto.
You're listening to the
So risk assets become less appetizing. But anyway, that's kind of a separate point. It is interesting to note that the last 2 times that we have had very high government bond yield rates over the last like 12, 15 months, the last 2 times, I don't know why that did balloons. No balloons. Both times Trump has interceded to bring rates down. Now, why would he do that? Well, as I've just said, when rates are high, when government bond yield rates are high, it basically means that money is expensive. And as you guys know, the US has like $9 trillion of debt to refinance this year. And refinancing it with bond yields high, it will be more expensive for them. What's up, Sniper Shark? What's up, MBig? Firebot is not working. Yeah, it's not turned on. God damn. There we go. MBig, my man. So for that reason, it's in his interests, this year at least, to keep government bond yields as low as possible. So if you see the last 2 times that we have had high bond yields, he stepped in and effectively took action. There you go, MBig. That would reduce the yield numbers. The first of those occasions was, I think it was around the time of the tariffs last year, when tariffs were going crazy and the market was puking, and he introduced a 90-day pause. We had a big drop in yield rates, and the stock market rallied and crypto rallied, and everyone was happy. The second of those occasions was back in March, I think it was. It was the first major ceasefire in Iran, after the conflict started. Chubby with the 4-month resale. Let's go. Let's go. Appreciate it. And again, we saw the same thing. We saw pullback in bond yields. We saw stock market rallied to fucking... eventually rallied to a new all-time high. Crypto got a bit of breathing room too. So now we're seeing this again, where I think the US 30-year hit like a multi-decade high. It was the highest it's been since like 2008 or something like that. 10-year hit a multi-year high. We've bond yields in Japan and UK also hitting multi-year highs. I think in Japan it was like a 50-year high or a 40-year high or something. So again, this is specific to the US. The US doesn't want government bond yields being so high. So, you know, now we're seeing this peace deal being brokered, and they're pulling back. Bond yields are pulling back. Now, interestingly, someone said on stream, I think I think it might have been Luke on one of our roundtables, earlier this week. He said that probably this peace deal is going to last because the World Cup is coming up in the US, and they effectively will not want, like, the US will not want war headlines while the World Cup is going on. They'll want everything to feel good. They'll want things to be happy. Things are positive. You know, focus on the World Cup. Don't focus on any negativity. Paint the US in a good light. And I think that's true. I think that's a really good read on things, actually. So it wouldn't surprise me now. When does the World Cup start? Someone tell me. Could it be June? World Cup. Yeah, it starts in 11th of June is the first match. So we're like 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away. So if you can imagine that this peace deal is going to be the one that sticks at least for the summer. I think it's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, invest in bread and circuses, exactly. 30 streams. Let's go, MBig, my man. My man. Love it. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate you. Yo, what's up, Matt? Good to see you, bro. Appreciate the repost. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Is the Blowfin trading competition running? Yeah, it is running. I think we're doing all right. We're definitely in the top 100. Yeah, we're 60th in the world. So GG everyone involved. Our team P&L is 34%. Let me just screenshot this. That's pretty good. Considering there are how many entries? Considering there are 3,000 teams. It's not too bad. Yeah, we have 25 members trading. If this will let me select. Oh my goodness, my laptop is crawling. 25, 34% P&L, 60th in the world. 60th out of 3,000, not too bad, not too bad. Where's the leaderboard? Check the link in Chroma. The mods shared it. Happy Friday from Singapore. My man, enjoy your weekend, Matt.
And Juna Deep.
Yo, what's up, Chroma? Oh, never fails to make me laugh. Long the weekend, short the weekday. Is that it? It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, check the announcements channel in Chroma. Your granny outperformed your portfolio with what? Potatoes? Did she long potato futures? Oh, New York opened. Interesting. Obviously the Indutois, can I speak today? Obviously the prediction is closed, but we will look at it. So yeah, we have about 60,000 florins in the mix. That's all right. In last stream we had over 200,000. So maybe the redistribution of wealth is weighing heavily on people. AMD just ripping. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Once I started really getting into the, you know, I was like in my head I was finalizing the liquidity module last night, and I realized there's actually so much to talk about when you get into like how liquidity actually manifests in a chart, like the trades you take. You know, like you think about like MX breaks the structure. You think of like liquidity pools as high time frame POIs. You think about how liquidity interacts with structure, weak lows, weak highs. You think about how sweeps work, how SFPs work. You think about how structural continuation works, structural reversal works. It's all intrinsically related to liquidity. You think about how powers of three works, AMD. It's all very, very related to liquidity. So I thought liquidity was going to be a not a small module, but a simple module. I thought it would be straightforward, but it is anything but straightforward. Liquidity has its tentacles in every other module, so you really have to make sure that everything is kind of like you're on the ball. So it's gotten big. What's up, Ty Blue? Afternoon. Salmon colored shorts, yes or no? What's salmon? Is this salmon? Or is this pink? Shorts is in short trousers. No, I got that. I got that. Salmon colored shorts. Do you have a picture? Salmon colored shorts, men. Okay. We have a few options here. Is it okay? This is option A. This is for Tiblu, by the way. Don't at me. Don't at me. This is option B. You need to tell me which one you're looking at. And we'll do one more for variety. No, not that one. I don't want to get banned. We'll do this one. We'll do this order. In, I don't know, in increasing something, decreasing, option B. This one. This one is the one you're looking for. What are we looking at? Well, Tiblu wants to know what he should be wearing this summer. I mean, look, yeah, go for it. Option C, bees. Abdul, thank you. Thank you for following. No doubt Abdul saw. No doubt Abdul saw what we're doing here and thought, I want to get involved. You think C as well? Yeah. I'd be more of an A man. Any other option is gay. I'd be more of an A man myself. I mean, look, bottom line. Nothing against them in principle. Thing is, if you have a good build and you wear something with confidence, you basically wear a fucking plastic bag and it'll look good. This is what people don't get. And I say that as someone who is deeply unfashionable. I'm unfashionable and I'm dating a Parisian. I'm living with a Parisian. My life is fucking, I feel like I'm on a runway every day. I feel like I'm living in The Devil Wears Prada. So don't forget that. Yeah, it's the common saying, really, isn't it? It's less about the clothes and more about how you wear them. Ten minutes into New York Open and not much has happened, to be honest. I'm right back at the start. You love Paris? Paris is okay. It's nice. I wouldn't say I love it. I'm a fan of France in general, but I find I'd be a bigger fan of other parts of. Paris was good 15 years ago. I think, with respect, I think, is that not something that is more, it says more about you than about the city? I feel like doesn't every generation say that? Like, I know that for instance, I watch TV shows now, particularly comedies, and I just can't. They're unfunny, they're cringe, they're just terrible, they make me feel uncomfortable. Then I watch shows like The Office, 30 Rock, like Peep Show. I'm like, oh, like Arrested Development. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's so funny. Like, wow, these guys are fun. This is real humor. And then I think, like, okay, but is that actually because they're better shows, or is it because I watched all those shows when I was like 17, 18, 19 for the first time, and I absolutely had such a positive experience watching them that now watching them back, it's like nostalgia. It makes me remember like good times when I was younger. There's you have to be careful with that, right? You have to recognize that you have a bias. They're better shows 100%. Well, that's the thing. Are they really? Like, here's a good example. Anchorman. Me and my mates, man, when Anchorman came out, we were in school. It was the most quoted fucking movie in my whole fucking year. Like, everyone constantly doing quotes back and forth for like a year. And I watched that recently, and again, like, I thought it was funny. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was funny, but definitely the part of my brain that was like, that I was enjoying it the most was like the nostalgia part of my brain. I think I have a funny suspicion, and of course I'll never be able to test this, but I have a sneaking suspicion that if I were to watch it today, having never watched it before, that I would probably not find it funny, to be honest. You tried to rewatch Night at the Roxbury recently, it did not hit. Yeah, that's old. That's, you're going back into the 90s there, right? Comedy died 1 or 2 decades ago. That's my point. I don't think it did. I think that if you were born in the 50s, you would say that comedy died in the 70s. If you were born in the 70s, you would say that comedy died in the 90s. If you're born in the 90s, you're going to say that comedy died in the 2010s or the early 2000s, you know? I think that's just the nature of the human condition. You know, there's a famous quote. Listen to this. There's a famous quote. It says, "The youth of today have no respect. They run around the city streets. They cause havoc. They cause mischief. They disrespect their elders. The youth of today are nothing like the youth when I was a boy." I mean, that's not, you could write that's the quote, right? You could apply that to today, right? It sounds like something that someone would have said, you know, this year or a couple of years ago. That's from fucking ancient Greece, man. That's like, I think it's Socrates or Aristotle said that. I believe it was Socrates. Socrates, the youth of today. Yeah, it was Socrates. They love luxury, they have bad manners, they have contempt for authority. Oh, actually it says here that it may not have actually been attributed to Socrates. It may have been a false fabrication. In any case, the point I'm making is that, yes, every generation says those things. Movie quality dropped substantially. Again, I don't think that's true. There are great films coming out every year. Same with music. People say, oh, music today is so bad. Well, yeah, if you're listening to the top hits on Spotify, of course it's gonna be bad, but there's still fucking fantastic music being written and performed. You like the style of Paris flea markets, art scene, and blood-soaked architecture, yeah. Bro is trying to figure out the human mind on a live stream, yeah. I dabble pulls a flute out of his sleeve. That is genuinely hilarious. There's no whatever time period I would have watched that film, that would have been a laugh out loud moment. Very funny. And it's Fred Armisen, right? Plays the proprietor. Isn't it the same every generation? Yeah, but that's the point I'm making. I believe it is the same every generation. I don't believe it's a modern phenomenon to look back on things and with rose-tinted lenses. Yo, what's up, Jonesy? Good to see ya. Jonesy in the chat, boys. I'm guessing Jonesy's long. If he's saying long the Ponzi, I'm guessing he's long. Have I watched Succession? I have not. Probably will watch it at some point. I don't know, is Succession one of these shows, but I have such a fucking pain in my ass from watching these shows that take like 2-3 years between seasons. The example I'm thinking of is Severance, which is a great show with Adam Scott. But it's like, man, I don't remember what year the first season came out, but I remember there was like a 2.5 year gap between the first and the second season, and man, like I have a good memory, but I could not remember a thing by the time the second season came out. I was like, who's that? What are they doing? How does this work again? And it kind of made me just not really enjoy the second season as much. And now I've heard they just started shooting the third season. It's like it's already been 2 years since the second season. Maybe I got severed, yeah. And I'm like, so this is gonna come out in what, like 12 months, 18 months? And it's like, what? Man, I'm gonna be a different human when that comes out. Severance is phenomenal. It's a great show. I just wish they would release a season a year. Same with like House of the Dragon. I know these are big budget shows and they take a long time to do. Don't get me wrong, I understand. There's a process to it.
You're listening to the Anjuna Deep Edition.
It's just like, I think in future I will just not watch them when they're coming out. I will just wait for everything to be done and then just not even binge it, but like if I want to watch a show, I want to watch like an episode every couple of days and finish the whole thing in like a month or two, right? I don't want to fucking wait 7 or 8 years. House of the Dragon is so boring. It's the second season was not great. The thing about House of the Dragon is it had so much potential and they kind of fumbled the bag a little bit, and that really didn't become apparent to me until I saw Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And I was like, oh wait, yeah, they could have done this. What's up, POTUS Trades? One comedy I watched recently is The Studio with Seth Rogen. Okay. You're thinking of watching Severance? Do you recommend wait until the 3rd season comes out and then watch all 3 seasons? The new Backrooms movie is gonna be Litty Titty. Jonesy, you forget that I'm like a decade older than you and I live in the middle of nowhere in a country that is 15,000 miles from you. Can't be using all this newfangled slang. But yes, I agree. The Backrooms film is going to be litty titty. Bet. I'm not even capping, bro. On God. It's going to be litty titty. Night of the Seven Kingdoms is good, but it's basically the exact same story as A Knight's Tale, beat for beat. Yeah, okay. Oh, alright, okay. But that novella came out, I'm pretty sure that novella predated Knight's Tale. And it's also not the exact same story, beat for beat. I like both of those films. I read A Knight's Tale when I was 16 years old. Sorry, I read Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's just called The Hedge Knight. When I was 16 years old, man. I read fucking all those books when I was young, man. Fucking love them. If you had told me that, you know, it would be the biggest fantasy franchise in the world in 20 years time, I wouldn't have believed you. You spend too much time with the youth. Yeah, it's clearly rubbing off on you. You just closed a 40% position on Eden, now off to touch some grass. Take it easy, man. Enjoy the weekend. Have you ever watched Mr. Robot? I watched the first season and it didn't really hook me, so I stopped after that. Have I ever read The Black Company? I have not. That's not 40K, is it? I feel like I'm thinking of something else. Live streams in ancient Greek were accomplished via kidnapping, huh? It's grimdark fantasy. The Black Company. Yeah, but is it 40K? 40K is grimdark fantasy. Well, grimdark sci-fi. The Black Company. Oh, okay, no. No, I was thinking of something else. But no, I have not read that. When do you expect the bear market bottom? I expect the bear market bottom either close to the end of this year or sometime in the first half of next year. I've already kind of said, like, you know, thing is, like, with all these plans, right, and this is like, it feels like I'm giving you a legal disclaimer. With all of these plans, right, it's like, it's strong opinions, Lucy Hell. Do I think that we get lower prices, you know, towards the end of this year or into 2027? Yes. Do I think that the bottom is in? No. Am I precious about this read? Am I precious about my conviction? No. The only reason I have a read like this, it's not because I'm betting my net worth on it. It's not because you know, I have some emotional attachment to getting low prices on BTC. It's because this is a plan that makes sense to me, right? And if we don't get it, that's fine. I will not give a shit. I will not lose sleep. I will not cry myself to sleep. I will not make a public apology video on X and say that I got it wrong and I can't believe I was the worst trader ever. This is just a one read of many. You're gonna get a lot of reads wrong in your career. You're gonna get a lot right, you're gonna get a lot wrong. If this read turns out to be wrong, I will just shrug my shoulders and I will move on to the next thing. I will readjust my bias and I will go again, because that's what good trading is. Now, all that being said, with that legal disclaimer out of the way, I think that we will get lower prices into either the end of this year or early next year, and I think there are a few different reasons for that. Beyond what I've already touched on at the start of this stream, beyond this kind of sentiment oscillator, which I don't know actually that much about, so let's ignore that for now. Let's focus on what we know a little bit more about, right? Drawdown from all-time high. You look at previous bear markets. I think the first bear market had like a 90-something% drawdown. Second bear market had an 80-something%. Third had a 70-something%. Fourth had a 70-something%, right? So it's getting smaller and smaller, but we're still in the 70 to 90% range. What is this track? A little bit too much. Oh. Shocking. Terrible, terrible. There we go. We're still in at kind of a, you know, we're looking at 70 to 90%, something like that. So far, we've seen minus 50%. Price is currently trading at minus 40%. I just don't think that's enough of a drawdown to be a bottom, right? And again, this is dubious speculation. We're dealing with a sample size of fucking 3 or 4. It's like what I'm saying now is effectively like flipping a coin 3 times and you get heads, 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 and then you go, well, this next coin flip has to be a head. You know, it has to be heads because the previous 3 were heads. So I understand. Like, I understand. Those of you who are saying, this guy is talking out his ass. I understand. It's dubious speculation, but that's all we got. A sample size of 3 or 4 is better than a sample size of 0, right? You look at time spent in a bear market, time spent in these big high time frame downtrends after we put in a new all-time high. It's like, it's usually around 50 to 55 weeks, something, and it's about a year, right? And so far we've been downtrending since October, so we're about halfway there. What is it? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're over halfway there. We'll call it 7 months, right? That probably, again, if we were to bottom here, if we were to have bottomed a month ago, it would have been the shortest bear market by a factor of like 2x. Maybe that is the case. I'm not betting on it. That's the second point. Third point, realized price, and this is where it gets juicy. And that's why I have this is what I prepared. Oh, actually, look, I have all the stats here. What am I even talking about? There we go. Look, I have everything written down. Man, I was reciting that from heart. Drawdown from all-time high. 93%, 85%, 84%, 78%. 2026. So the max we had was 52%. Again, my point still stands. It would be quite a ways. It wouldn't really be in keeping with the rest. But maybe it's getting smaller. Who the fuck knows? 22 weeks, 59 weeks, 52 weeks, 54 weeks. I think at the moment, what are we on? So if we're on 7 months, we'll call it like 28, call it like 32. Might be like something like 30 weeks so far. I don't actually know. I'm going to estimate we're on 30 weeks. Something like that. So if we're going by 2013, 2017, 2021, then we probably have a little bit more time. Again, I know this is all dubious, but bear with me. The realized price is the interesting one because that is the average buy price for all crypto holders, or so for all BTC holders And if you see this yellow line here is the realized price with the BTC price on top of it. You see that all previous bear markets we have spent time trading underneath the realized price, right? In fact, we spent considerable time. You see here 122 days, 300 days, 140 days, 179 days. This bear market so far, we spent 0 days. 0 days. So what does that mean? I mean, it doesn't mean a lot, to be honest. You know, I don't mind qualifying all this by saying, does it mean a lot? No, not really. If you look at this and say, I don't believe any of that, yeah, that's fine. It's pretty dubious. But it is something that it's like a thing of probabilities. Do I think that something like this makes more sense than the bottom being in? Yeah, I do actually. We can only go on the data we have, and my data is saying that maybe the bottom isn't in. Realized price is an interesting one because that's pretty fucking, it's been pretty bang on. We always spend, you know, between 4 months and kind of 10 months below the realized price. And so far we've spent 0 months. We haven't even spent a day below the realized price this cycle. So with all that in mind, current realized price is about 55K. Do I have a chart open? Yeah, I do. Let me show you the live realized price chart. This is the live realized price chart. So the current, I don't know, can you guys see that? The current realized price right here is 54,232. Actual price is 77,486. We came pretty close to realized price kind of back when price did that big drop. Yeah, when it dropped to about, what was it, 59K, 60K? Yeah, I think when you think about it, it makes sense, right? Max capitulation, max fear, max bearish sentiment would be an average of Bitcoin holders being underwater. So yeah, I think someone asked me that question like 10 minutes ago. Why do I think that we see lower prices? It's not a strong opinion of mine, but it is an opinion. It is an opinion that I think is informed. How about that? Good to see a fellow short enjoyer. Yeah, it's not even that. Like, I'm fucking giga bullish on crypto long term. But I think we see low 40s before any meaningful upside this cycle. No worries, passenger. Hope that makes sense. Let me... Oh, Bears just about won? They did. They did. GG. Let's get those florins going. Bearish. Boom. You don't know how dueling works? You duel someone for ducats. And they need to accept or deny the duel. Does that make sense? To the people wondering why this madman is looking for low 40s. Market looks good now, but it just looks like a bull market pullback to me. As I've explained already. This time might be different because of institutional adoption. 100%. And that's why I say, you know, I'm not precious about this read. Everything's different this cycle, man. We have ticker dilution. We have BTC dominance. Like, that's the big fucking difference this time, man. We never really got a pullback on BTC dominance. We never really came down. Like, this was the 2018 run. This was the 2021 run, right? We never really got that capital flow from Bitcoin to alts. So this cycle is different, manifestly different. We have ETFs now, institutions, DATs, treasury companies. We have government adoption. We have sovereign nation adoption. We have an unprecedented level of like celebrity grift meta, celebrity onboarding, bad faith actors, I would say. We have, we have ticker dilution. We have more tickers now than ever before. We had pump fun, also completely changed crypto, probably for elements that are worse and better. And I would say also there's an element of like retail wariness, where like so many guys got burnt in 2021 that it's very hard to convince that capital to come back to the market. So yeah, everything is different, 100%. Bro was ready for this. Which levels would change your bias? Someone was wrong on the internet. Yeah, I can't believe it. This track is fire, yep. The sentiment indicator you showed us has to be in strong red for that note. Well, the sentiment indicator is just sentiment. But the point I'm making is that people saying that sentiment is bad now. But actually, sentiment on BTC at least, because this is just measuring BTC. Sentiment on BTC is actually just flipped more bearish than bullish. Mr. Robot has one of the best series endings of all time. Interesting. Which levels would change your bias? I've already kind of explained that. For me, the flip would be a reclaim of like 86, 87K. Because if we do that, then I would be expecting a rotation back to high 90s. If we can do this, and we can find acceptance here, then I think that move is the next on the table. Before that, it just feels like a complex pullback. We're 33 weeks in. Is that it? October 10th to now, how many weeks? This is real laziness. 32 weeks exactly, says ChatGPT. I try not to do those little, I don't know, I feel like an old man. I try not to do those little like, mental arithmetic that you can do yourself. Try and do those in my head, but since I am streaming, I'll give myself a pass. Like I know people who do they'll be like, yeah, they'll be like there'll be some simple mathematical equation, you know, like, oh yeah, that's like 30% of 24, right? And then they're like, hey, they're like, you know, whatever, like, hey Alex or hey Sam or whatever the fuck they call them, what's 30% of 24? That always, I think that's a bad habit. Maybe you're terrible at maths and it's okay, but it's like, you know when you have like a celebrity name on the tip of your tongue, you like, it's right there. I always try not to look it up because you gotta fucking train your brain to like find that information, you know. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes like an hour, but it's worth it in the end. You gotta train your brain to do the hard work sometimes. You can't just fucking immediately default to ChatGPT. That's gonna rot your shit. It was good timing with the music. Cole is also looking for 40s. Is he? I thought he was bullish. Even if you were to look for BTC bottom compared to previous all-time high, we're still a bit off. Last one was 21% below all-time high. This would put premium for that cycle around 48, 54K. So yeah, I'm not really looking for under all previous all-time high. 23% here. Yeah. I don't, that's not necessarily a piece of information that I'm looking at. Alt season for 5 coins, yeah. Brett or Pepe, not looking at either of those. Pumfum destroyed the altcoin market, yeah. Well, I think it changed it. And probably made it harder for the average market participant to succeed. It made it hard for good faith actors to succeed. Actually, the pump fund meta seems to have been something that heavily rewarded insiders and ruggers. And actually disincentivized like building, I don't know, cool projects with use cases or like trying to build like organic memes, you know? I'm just reminded of do you guys remember Buddy? I always think of that coin, Buddy. Let me see if I can find the fucking Buddy. Oh yeah, okay. Let's check this out. So this was the Buddy coin. I got a DM from one of the devs asking would I promote this coin for allocation. Now I looked at the allocation, it was like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of coins. Now I think even at its peak it was still less than 10k. I said no. Absolutely, it was a terrible meme. It sounded like a shill. It sounded like a fucking rug in the making. But I saw so many guys in my friends group shill that piece of shit. And then this is what happened. It rugged. The dev said something about like mental health issues and said he couldn't handle the pressure anymore, and then just rugged the coin and walked away with a few $1 million. And I just thought, if that's how easy it is to make a few $1 million, just absolutely devoid of morals, devoid of ethics, just pay a few KOLs like absolute pennies to promote your shitcoin and then rug it as soon as price gets up into, you know, several $1 million market cap. I was like, fuck, why the fuck would anyone ever get into memes when that's how easy it is? Reputation takes a lifetime to build, but only minutes to destroy. Don't forget that, boys. Don't forget that. Buying gold is for fools, where BTC exists. Tune boy. That'll be you. You're a nerd, you like maths. The most satisfying sigh of relief for the brain. Yes, exactly. Polish bringing out the Mongolian throat singers. Yeah, exactly. Track ID. It's in the mix. Oh, we have a new mix. That's fair. We have a new mix. Let me share it. You're sitting on your hands for now, Matt? Mid-time frame bullish, but also thinks lower until the end of the year. Okay, interesting. What are your thoughts on trading weekends? I trade weekends. I think Saturdays are terrible to trade, but Sundays, in my opinion, are effectively like a weekday. I don't really see any meaningful difference in price action between Sunday and Monday. A lot of the time, you'll get a Sunday pump and a Monday dump. Sometimes you'll get a Sunday dump and a Monday pump. Sometimes you'll get a Monday pump and a Tuesday dump. Right? I feel like Sunday and Monday are kind of similar in that a lot of times the moves you get on those days get retraced early into the following week. Saturday is a terrible day for trading. If you're in crypto and there's one day that you want to just pick to close all charts and touch grass, it's Saturday. But Sundays are pretty tradable, I think. At least they have been for the last like 12, 18 months. Sundays are pretty okay. Those dollars won't last much. Yeah, man, you know, like I think about it all the time. Remember that guy JPEG who rogued his reputation for $2,000? I always think about that. I always think about that, how little money people are willing to fucking sacrifice their reputations for. For 2K, yeah, for $2,000, man. He had a pretty big following, 40,000 followers. Why would you do that for $2,000? And then rug it. Have you heard about Monado? Well, what do you mean beyond the obvious? What do you mean? Oof. This doesn't look great. There's no money worth it to ruin your morals or values. Unfortunately, opinions like that are a dying breed, Fearlack. You mean the obvious? Well, the obvious was that he rogued his copy trading, right? On, I didn't know what exchange it was on. When you take profits, how do you fight the urge to open another trade after your trade continues higher or lower? I never have that urge. If I'm being honest, I can't even answer that question because I've never felt that urge. How do you fight the urge to open another trade? I have no urge to open another trade. Once I close a trade, I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah. I just feel good, man. I don't feel the urge to get into another trade at all. I feel a visceral relief that I'm no longer in that trade, usually. It's like a wave of relief washes over me that especially getting to like the pinch point in a trade where you're like, do I close now? Do I close now? Do I keep it open? Do I keep it running? The one thing that I do sometimes deal with is like I feel a little bit of FOMO if I fully close a trade and I just see it continue to run. That's something I deal with sometimes, but what helps is just getting rid of that coin off your watch list and try not to pay attention to it for a few days, because you won't have a good read on it. If you've been in a trade on a coin for a few days, let's say you catch a nice move, let's say you catch like a 10% move to the upside, and then you close that coin. Anytime you go back into that chart for the next few days or even few weeks, you're just gonna continuously see your old setup, and you're gonna be in your head, you're gonna be like, well, what if I was still in it? What if I had only taken 50% off? What if I had, like, you know, and you're gonna ask yourself all these questions, and it's gonna make you second guess yourself. So my advice is, if you've been in a trade on a coin, and that trade is, you're fully out of that trade, you fully close out of that position. And again, it depends on who you are and what your personality is like. But I would say for the majority, it probably pays to just close out of that chart for a few days at least, and just mentally reset a little bit, so that when you come back to the chart, you're looking for new setups. You're looking for new setups, and you're looking at the price action more objectively than through the subjective lens of the setup that you just exited. Does that make sense? Because that's gonna have a negative influence on how you view the chart. Hype, we can do hype, yeah. Makes perfect sense. I've been wanting to take fewer quality setups. Yep. What was the time frame? M15 or M30? Interesting. So I already kind of put out my... It's not a low time frame idea. I would love to see a pullback here on hype. Okay, sorry, I heard noises in the house and I needed to account for them. Where is our medium time frame chart? MTF, MTF, MTF. Let me just open it. I feel like we already have. Wow, this... What an interesting chart. Why is pump so fucking bad? Jesus Christ, like it's allergic to price action. This thing kind of looks like LIT before it pumped, no? Why is pump allergic to price appreciation? Accumulation. Well, it looks like LIT, but LIT actually did the thing. LIT actually broke structure. Someone said, here's a pop quiz for you guys. Someone said, I saw someone on Twitter, and they posted this. They said, LIT has finally broken high time frame structure. Who can tell me what is wrong with that? And again, I understand strict application of structural rules are frowned upon. But this isn't necessarily how structure would be read. Really. It's an internal MSB. Well, yes, it is internal structure. Previous high. New low that swing. Yes, Nico. That is exactly what I was looking for. The high we should be looking at is actually this one. Still broke structure, by the way. But yes, these are the external highs. The external highs will guide your hand. You should be favoring external highs over internal highs when it comes to a bullish break-in structure like that. What do I mean by that? No doubt people are asking that question. This is your high time frame structure on LIT. Notice how each lower high needs to make a lower low, right? Now, this high, is it a structural high? Yes. It is a high. These are highs and these are lows, don't get me wrong. These are highs and these are lows. Let's make this. Is this swing structure? Yes, it is. It is market structure. We have a high, we have a low, we have another high, we have another low. This is swing structure for sure, but is it external swing structure on the time frame that we were just looking at? No, it's not. It is internal structure, right? So those highs and lows are not actually relevant for determining our structural bias on that time frame. The previous high, the last lower high to make a lower low was this one, right? Since then, no subsequent highs made a lower low. So this is the swing structure that you should be focused on, and therefore this is your break-in structure. Right. Now, again, that's all very contextual, and a strict application of range bound of structural principles is usually counterintuitive. But in this case, it's pretty clear cut, I would say, actually. I think that if you got this move up here, and guys were like, oh yeah, we broke structure, I think this would end up actually rolling over. Sketchy though did the daily close above. The daily did close above, but we are seeing a rejection now, so Sketchy is right. This is dirty. What's up, David Sand? Strong high versus weak high. This is not actually to do with strong highs and weak highs. Interestingly enough. The strong highs and weak lows actually become more relevant up here. This is a strong high. It is a high that should be protected in bearish market structure, but because we broke it, this is arguably, you're looking at a break of structure here. You don't like the lows. Well, yeah, man, that's the thing. That's the thing. I would love to see a sweep of those. Anyway, we got to do high. We got to do high. Where's my chart? Let's do M30. Now, what would you say I'm looking for up here, Film Ninja? We've just taken a major high time frame buy side liquidity. What am I looking for here? It's been falling, I've been solid for weeks. The stars are pretty when the sky falls. Looking for lower. Well, I'm certainly looking for the key consideration here. Something or something. What's the key consideration here? The key consideration always in the chart is, do we go up or do we go down? What am I looking for therefore in this range? What type of price action would suggest... What the fuck is this? Range, that's correct, but what's the type of price action I'm looking for here? In a range. One type of price action suggests going higher, one type of price action suggests going lower. Yes, Wojak, correct. Distribution. Is this distribution or is this accumulation? We literally have some very nice graphics. Oh, can't post. We have some new additions to our module 2. I don't know if they've been added yet. They were supposed to be added today. Accumulation versus distribution. Continuation versus reversal. So we're looking for evidence that the market is gearing up for another move higher, or evidence that the market is gearing up for a reversal. That's basically it. So we draw a range here and we're looking for evidence of buyer or seller control. That's it. Buyers have been in control so far. It doesn't take a fucking genius to understand that. Buyers have been in control for days, arguably even weeks, right? So the assumption is that they will stay in control. The assumption is that price will leg higher again. But you need to find evidence, right? Are buyers in control here? Is it just getting ready for the next leg up? If you get this type of price action, this is usually indicative of getting ready for another leg up. By contrast, I've spoken about this before. Sometimes you get this type of price action, just like this, and then retest, and then like this, and then retest, and then like this. This is usually this is like a sign that buyers are getting out of their positions. They're relinquishing control to sellers, and sellers might be about to drive price a bit lower. It's all to do with buyer and seller control. So with that in mind, we kind of haven't seen enough in this range to say which one is happening now. I think one of the things we can look at, like high time frame POIs. We have a daily. Daily FEG down here. Daily inefficiency. You can probably look at this kind of POI. It's a bit ugly, isn't it? Bit ugly. That's actually pretty good. So if this comes down below the range, you really want to see this. You want to see this. You want to see this provide a reaction. You don't really want to see price trade down here. That kind of looks like we're losing the range. Starts looking very distributive. With regard to highs, you kind of want to see these highs get taken. You want to see price putting in higher highs. You want to see this kind of thing. I don't know why my laptop is scrolling. You want to see this kind of thing. You don't want to see successive lower highs. Bro, what the fuck is wrong with this? You long render. Render is the future of finance. So yeah, it's kind of a boring answer, but we haven't seen enough here for me to be like even interested in taking a trade. For sure, you can look at range low or range high deviations. You know, maybe we even get something where it's like, we just get something like this. You know? Sweep the highs and a very strong rejection, and you might actually start looking for shorts. But it's hard to say, really. I think this is one of those things where you just gotta wait for more price action to develop inside this low time frame range. But for sure, the schematic that you should be paying attention to is this one. And you can check the Chroma Educational. You can check module 2.10 for that. We were supposed to have, I think it's uploaded already. Oh yeah, no. Almost. It's being uploaded as we speak. Looks like. Looks like it's being uploaded as we speak. 2.10. We're going back to the weekend. Personally, I'm not touching that shit. Yeah, maybe. Humiliation for hype bears. I would love to see pullback to this kind of mid-40s level. I think that's a good long opportunity. If we get it. I'm giga bullish on hype. That's another thing. It's like me looking for these pullbacks on coins like hype, BTC, man. This is not my long-term view. I'm giga bullish on hype. I think hype is going to be one of the big coins to watch for the next few years. I would love to get into a position, but I am not buying it at $60. And maybe when it's trading at $200, I'm going to be like, fuck, I should have bought some at 60. But I would prefer to buy some blood. Maybe we don't get blood, and that's fine too. You're hyped for sub 75 today? Doesn't look great. Kind of looks like it wants to roll over. AI coins fetch.ai. Wow, I didn't know that was still a thing. Weren't they supposed to fucking merge with like Ocean and something else? Hype flipping BNB could be an obvious top 9 side. Why do you say that? Ajax. Yeah, that was it. What the fuck happened there? I feel like that never happened, right? Elon render. What price is render? Is it $1.80? It's $2. What? Why? Why is render $2 today? Wait, what? Oh, it happened, but they called it FET? Okay, interesting. I did not realize that. That's interesting. All right, boys, we're going to call it there. Coming on an hour and 30. Thanks very much for joining, as always. Next week, I'm streaming on Monday and Wednesday only, not on Friday. So just 2 streams next week, Monday and Wednesday. So I will see you back here on Monday. Yeah, not much else to say, really. Like, my bias is still the same. It hasn't really changed. I've been saying that the bottom isn't in on BTC. I've been saying that I've been practicing, trying to get you guys to practice caution as we trade into what I think is channel high resistance. And yeah, we're pulling back now. We are actually from the local high to, we're about 7.5% down, which is not a small amount. Still giga bullish on crypto long term. Still giga bullish on coins like Hype, like BTC. But I think lower prices into the remainder of the year. Yeah, thanks Wojak. Thanks Mbig. Thanks Nico. Don't ask why, ask why not. Exactly. Thanks Beerlac. Thanks Sizz. Thanks Caddy. Alright boys, thanks Keynote. We're gonna call it there. Enjoy your weekends. Touch some fucking grass if you get a chance. And we will see you back here on Monday. The Blowfin trading competition is still running. If you guys want to get involved, you just need to check the post in Discord. You don't need to be a Chroma member to sign up to the Chroma team, to trade with the Chroma team. We have 25 guys trading on the team now, which is great. And like I said, I think we're coming 60th in the world, which is fucking awesome, because that's 60th out of like 3,000. I think yesterday we were actually like in the top 20 briefly in the top 20. So let's see where we finish. I think anything in the top 100 I'll be pretty happy with, but we shall see. All right, boys, we're going to call it there. Thanks very much for your time. We will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekends. Try not to get liquidated, and I will see you next time. Until then, peace out, Girl Scouts. Love you. Bye-bye.